Community health nursing practice occurs in the community, and the community itself is of particular interest to the nurse. A community can be conceptualized in a number of ways. For example, you can use the word community to refer to a city or town where you live, the neighborhood surrounding your home, a sports team that you are part of, a church where you worship, and so on. For the purpose of this program, a community is viewed as a geographic entity. In addition to focusing on the community as a whole, nurses also work with various aggregates within that community. An aggregate can be defined as a group of people who have one or more personal or environmental characteristics in common. For example, age, gender, and cultural heritage. In this program, we will look at the process and issues inherent in assessing both a geographic community and aggregates within the community. We will begin with assessing a geographic community. But first, what is community assessment? In its simplest form, it is when the nurse gets to know and have some understanding of the community. Assessment determines such things as the community's health concerns and needs, the various factors which affect the community's health, such as economic, political, and social factors, the community's strengths and assets, and challenges facing the community. In short, it is examining all of the factors that impact on the health of a community. As data is collected concerning each of these areas, a composite picture of the community emerges.
It's important to assess a community because you need to get a deep understanding of what are the people's perception within the community of their needs, and building on those needs then can help us to identify programs that are more relevant for the populations.
If you assess and just tell people, here's your problem, then it's hard for people to understand. But if they're there at the beginning and they sort of start to understand these are issues and these are concerns, and this is why this is an area of focus, then they're more likely to participate in the change management that's got to go on to move communities forward.
Wayne raises a critical issue in community assessment, that of including the community as partner in the process. This concept has become increasingly popular in community health nursing practice. Traditionally, nurses have focused on the community as client, a target of practice. However, viewing the community as partner is consistent with the primary healthcare approach, where the premise is that one of the best ways to keep a population healthy is involving them as an active partner in the process. How does seeing the community as client or the community as partner impact on how a community health nurse assesses the community?
If a community health nurse is looking at doing a community assessment, and if she's looking at the community as a partner, I think, while yeah, the community health nurse might still be the person who's actually doing the community assessment, collecting the data, because sometimes that's a difficult piece for community members. But certainly when you're looking at community as partner, like, they would be involved right from the beginning. They could be collecting some of that data for you too. And then, you would meet together as a group to put it all together. So it's just that the community as input is not just you collecting data. You would go back to the community members. You would gather input from them. You would do that in a variety of ways because you want to ensure that you have as much participation as you can possibly have. If the community health nurse is doing her community assessment and she's looking at the community as client, then she would collect the data as in community as partner, but then once she's collected that data and validated that data with the community, then the difference might be that then the community health nurse would look at developing the program and putting a program in place to meet the needs versus the community having input into what the program is going to be.
There are numerous approaches to community assessment, each with its particular strengths and limitations. An epidemiological approach, for example, focuses on such data as mortality and morbidity rates, which portray various health problems in a community. The needs-based approach examines what people in a community want or need through such strategies as key informant interviews and focus groups. The demographic approach considers various census tract information, such as the age and gender distribution in a community. The community health profile brings together epidemiological and sociological data with qualitative data, such as information from health professional caseloads. The community development approach focuses on the community's strengths and assets in terms of its structure, people, facilities, and so on. No one approach will portray a complete picture of the community, and a comprehensive overview is both time-consuming and costly. Fortunately, community health nurses can obtain a significant amount of data from existing data sources.
The steps in assessing a community first start with looking at the available literature, statistics, and Statistics Canada has an excellent website now, access to all the stats around provincial and even regional stats are readily available over the internet. Also, Newfoundland is very unique in having a community accounts set up on the Health and Community Services website. You can connect into the community accounts statistics, which actually breaks statistics down by community. So before you even step foot inside the community, or before you even speak to a community representative, it's important to have an idea, at least from a background of the literature and the reports and the statistics, of where you may be going, where some of the issues may be. Then it's like the icing on the cake when you speak to the public, because it all fits, the pieces of the puzzle quite often fit together with, okay, I know that I saw that in the literature, you know, what this person is telling me is a genuine concern, and I can see now that this really is an issue for this particular community.
Once the community health nurse has collected data from secondary sources, what other methods can he or she use to collect information about the community? A simple way is to conduct a windshield survey. This involves the nurse walking or driving around a community, noting such things as geographic features of the community, services and agencies within the community, neighborhood gathering places, and so on. Community surveys can also be administered to a random sample of community members. The survey can contain questions on a wide range of factors relevant to the community's health status. These surveys can be conducted by mail, email, telephone, or face-to-face interviews. A community forum can be held where members in the community can discuss issues which they deem relevant to their health. Focus groups can also be used as a means of gathering data from a smaller group, usually no more than 15 people. Interviews with key informants can yield valuable insight into the community. Key informants are people who, by virtue of their position in the community, have special knowledge about that community. A school guidance counselor or the police, for example. One strategy that was used in conducting a regional community assessment in the province of Newfoundland and Labrador was the creation of an advisory committee.
Because we were doing geography, we did not use geography as a way of identifying advisory committee members. Because the natural tendency is to sort of say, okay, if we're going into the Burin Peninsula, then we need someone from Burin, someone from Marystown, someone from Grand Bank. And who would you typically get? Well, you would get the mayors, the leaders, and these are really